My name is Brian Turner. I've been teaching guitar and other stringed instruments since 1977, and I've made a living teaching and gigging since the early 80s. In the early days of my career, there weren't many good resources, so over the years I've ended up creating a lot of my own material to help students make sense of the instrument. You may have heard about the ACE system, and while it's useful, it can be a bit overwhelming. After studying this system myself, I realized that some of those shapes overlap, so I simplified the concept into what I call the ACE Barre Chord System. Instead of 5 shapes, we focused on 3 chord shapes: the A, the C, and the E. That's where we get the word ACE. Also, my goal isn't to just memorize chords, but to make you understand how chords are constructed, so you're not dependent on memorizing a million chords. When you understand how chords are built, bar chords start to make more sense. But before we jump in, there are just a few simple terms I'll be using. Not many, but just a few, and I'll explain them as we go. First of all, intervals. An interval is simply the distance between 2 notes. Second, the root note. The root note is the note that identifies the chord. Okay, for example, the G note in the G chord, that's the root note. And finally, we need to know the notes on the 5th and 6th string, because that's how we identify our bar chords from the roots on the 5th and 6th string. If any of this confuses you at any time, don't worry, I'm going to keep going over and over until we get it. So, I have created a web page with the information I'm discussing for this video. The remaining lessons in this series has matchable printable practice sheets or web pages that goes with the videos. The lessons are all free, and the PDFs and the web pages are optional tools you may want to use if you prefer printed materials in front of you for practice. There's a link to the practice sheets in the video description below, and there's also a tip button there for the lesson if these lessons help you and you feel inclined to support the channel. Bar chords take patience, and steady progress is what matters, not speed. By the end of this series, bar chords won't feel like such a mystery anymore, not because they suddenly get easy, but because you'll understand how they really work. So let's get started. Okay, let's start with what might seem obvious, but if it's not obvious, that's okay, because you're going to see a picture of the chords about right now. So what we're going to do is we're going to learn the bar chords based off these 3 chords: A, C, and D. All right, so when we use a bar, those chords are movable. So we're going to start with A. So this is an A chord. Now, when I do that, I've got the 5th string is open. You see, the 5th string is open there. I'm not pressing it down. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move everything up 1 fret, also known as a half step. Take my first finger and I'm going to bar. Now, you don't need to bar the 6th string on that. You can just bar 5 strings. Okay? And then take your 3rd finger and cover the second 2, 3, and 4. What I do in the beginning is I simply just strum the 5, 4, and 3, and 2 string. If you do that, that's fine. That is the A sharp chord. See, what I've done is going up a fret. That's A. This is A sharp. I know we want to get that 1st string eventually, but it's kind of, everybody tends to want to cover it like this. So that doesn't work. So just hit the middle 4 strings. That's fine. So what we're going to do is we're just going to take that A, as you see in the graphic up here. We're going to go A sharp. Up a fret we have B, C, C sharp, D, D sharp, E, F, F sharp, G, G sharp, and then A. Start at A and end at A. You see? That's why you have a double dots on this fret here, because it starts over again. Now, how do I know the names of those chords? The way I know the names of those chords is by the 5th string. I'm identifying the root note on the 5th string. That's the note that identifies that particular chord. Now, as I mentioned earlier, in the description below, there's going to be a link down there where you can go to my web page, and it's going to have a couple of videos there that just talks about the 5th and 6th string. But if you don't know the notes on the 5th string, A sharp, B, C, C, you can go there and we can talk more about it. I don't want to get real deep into that on this video. So what we have is A sharp, B, C, C sharp, D, D sharp, E, F, F sharp, G, and G sharp, and A. So that's the A shape. All right, now we go to the next letter in the word ACE, C. Now this is the one that almost everybody misses. A lot of beginners will pick up on that chord I just did, and even this one, but for some reason people just don't pick up on this one. I'm not sure why, but I guess it's kind of tricky at first. What we're doing, we're taking a C chord and we're going to slide it up. Now this just like the A shape, we're not going to use the 6th string. We're going to use the 5 string. Now this one you can use 5 strings. And again, the root note is on the 5th string. So what? There's a C. I'm going to slide everything up the way I do that as I lay my first finger across 3 strings, 2nd finger here, 3rd finger there, 4th finger. You should see a graphic up there about now. There's C sharp. There's my root note, my pinky. That's a C sharp on the 5th string. D, D sharp, E, F, F sharp, G, G sharp, A sharp, B, and C again. I started on C and ended at C. All right. So now we have the A shape, root on the 5th string. We have the C shape, root on the 5th string. Now we have the letter E in the word ACE, E. Now the E shape uses all 6 strings. Here's an E chord, like that. Now we're going to take our first finger, we're going to bar. You should see a graphic about now. First finger there, 2nd finger here, 3rd finger, 5th string, and your pinky there. That's F. Now on this one, the root note is on the 6th string. So remember, this one has the root on the 6th string, not the 5th. So we have to learn the notes on the 6th string again. If you go to the description below, there will be a video talking about the notes on the 6th string. There's F, F sharp, B. Let me start over. E, F, F sharp, G, G sharp, A sharp, B, C, C sharp, D, D sharp, and E. So there you go. There's the ACE, the movable A shape, the movable C shape, and the movable E shape. So that's the 3 chords we're going to be dealing with exclusively in the video number 2. We're going to show you how to make all 3 ways to make all 12 major chords using just those 3 shapes. Okay. Now we talked about the root notes. Now what I want to talk to you about now is intervals. I'll never talk to you about anything more important than intervals. Well, maybe almost not anything. Intervals are the key. What is an interval? It's the notes of the scale. Well, you know, in the 1st grade we heard do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, the C major scale. Well, those notes have interval number names. For example, the first note C is your root or the 1. Your next note D, you know that's your 2nd interval. Then your 3rd, then your 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th. Okay, so that's the intervals of the scale. Now, the way we get chords, the way we get a major chord is we play the 1st, 3rd, and 5th note of that scale to get a C chord. So 1, 3, 5 is a major chord. Okay, so you have a root, a 5, another root, a 3, and another 5. So you only have a 1, 3, 5 in that. If I do the C shape, let's say for example, let's do this one right here. We'll use a D as an example. See, you've got root, 3, 5, root, 3. See? Then let's take the 3rd shape. You should see that about right now on your screen. What you see as an example up on the 8th fret, that's a root, 5, root, 3, 5, root. Now this is important because in the future I want to be saying flat your 3rd. So if I take my 3rd and flat it, that brings it down a fret. That's going to create a minor. So if this is vague right now, don't worry, because I want to be going over it and over and over in the next videos. So that's an introduction. So in the following videos, that's video number 1. There's going to be 8 videos. Okay. You should see a playlist coming up about now, or if you don't see it, you can go down in the description. There'll be the playlist there of the 8 videos, and each video will have have an accompanying web page that'll have PDFs, or it might be web-based, but it's going to be other materials to help you, and it's all going to be free. You don't have to sweat it. But video 2 is we're going to deal with major chords. We're going to have 3 ways to make every major chord, and then video 3 is going to be major 7th, and then dominant 7th, and then your major 6th, and then minor, and then your minor 7th, and your minor 6th. So we're going to learn a lot of chords here if you'll just stick with me. If you have any questions, you can go to the comments and leave them there, and I'd be glad to hear from you. And I hope you stick with this. If you'll stick with these 8 videos, each videos, they're not going to be long, probably 5 minutes each. You'll understand bar chords very well if you'll stick with this series. So I hope to see you there. Bye bye.